live in a digital world nowadays, or an e-world, as some may like to put it. We have concepts such as e-business, e-commerce, e-marketing, and e-service. So it seems it was only a matter of time before the idea of e-tourism emerged. But what exactly is e-tourism? What is it? How does it work? I've got you covered in today's video. If you are new here, my name is drhayleystainton and I teach all things travel and tourism. So let's get straight to the point. What is e-tourism? E-tourism is all about the introduction of digitalization into the tourism industry. This manifests itself in different ways. We see e-tourism before, during, and after a holiday or a trip itself. And actually, there is a lot of e-tourism that goes on behind the scenes, so we don't actually see it at all. Demetrius Bouhalis is a known expert in the field of e-tourism, and he defines it as the digitization of all processes and value chains in the tourism, travel, hospitality, and catering sectors that allow organizations to maximize their efficiency and effectiveness. This digitalization over the years has changed the way that the tourism industry works and in turn has altered the structure of the tourism industry, often for the better, making it more efficient and productive. And this is not unique in the tourism industry by any means. Our whole world has been becoming increasingly digitalized for many years now. In fact, we have become so reliant on the digital aspects of our lives that the functioning of the contemporary tourism system and its future seem unthinkable without the technological innovation that we have today. And e-tourism is actually all throughout the travel and tourism industry, and you might not always see this for yourself as a tourist, but trust me, it's there. Let me tell you some examples of where and how. Research and development. E-tourism is used to a large extent during the research and development stages of a tourism product or service. There are a wealth of digital resources at the disposal of the tourism industry, which enables people to collect large amounts of data and research their potential customers. In turn, this helps organisations in the travel and tourism industry to better understand their customers and therefore to better satisfy their needs and desires. Likewise, recent years have seen many options for the tourists themselves to research their travel choices to a greater extent than they have been able to do ever before. Reading blogs, looking at travel pictures on Instagram, scouring Pinterest. When it comes to heading off on a city break or a relaxing beach vacation, tourists often turn to the internet as a source of location inspiration. This is also evidence of e-tourism. Reservations and bookings. Central reservation systems have come a long way in the past couple of decades. First introduced in the 1960s by airlines, central reservation systems were quickly adopted by hotels and other businesses operating in the travel and tourism industry. Most recently, these have been further developed to allow the tourist to play a key role in the booking process by linking their reservation systems to popular online booking platforms such as Expedia or Skyscanner, as well as in-house developed booking systems. Nowadays, pretty much everything can be booked online. Tourists don't need to make a trip into town specifically to visit a travel agent and sit there while they look through brochures and databases to find a trip that ticks every box for them. The tourists can do it themselves. There is far more freedom and independence now, as consumers are part of the process right from the start. Bookings and changes can be made at the tap of a button or at the click of a link. This not only makes the process simpler and easier for the tourist, but it also helps the business to operate faster and more efficiently, reducing overhead costs and maximising productivity. Marketing and promotion. Some years ago, the likes of travel agencies and tourist boards would focus their marketing efforts on printed advertising, such as posters or brochures or flyers. But those days are long gone now. Whilst there will always be a place for physical advertising of this type, Travel and tourism organisations now have a wealth of valuable data at their fingertips that they can use to inform their marketing. As we live more of our lives online, think shopping, researching, connecting with our friends on social media, the organisations that want to sell us their products and/or services are more informed to do so than they have ever been before. Adverts can be targeted to specific customers based on location, age, and other relevant demographics. It can also be based around the user's online activity. Yes, that is true. If you begin to research, say, popular ecotourism sites, it is likely that you will start to see adverts about eco-lodges in the Gambia or ecotourism in Costa Rica. Whilst there are certainly some ethical questions about how much of our data is used by organisations for advertising purposes, there is no disputing that the organisations of today have a big foot up in comparison to their counterparts from a decade or two ago. In addition to this, we have new platforms where marketing can take place too. Social media platforms such as Instagram or Facebook allow for both large companies and individuals to promote products, services and places. As I explained in my video all about Insta-tourism, these social media platforms can be powerful tools for the purposes of marketing, and more people are working in this field too. Many argue that the growth of travel influencers around the world has changed the marketing industry forever. Travel. Technology has also enhanced the travel sector in many ways. More efficient aircraft, trains, cars, etc. have enabled us to travel further and faster than ever before. They typically create less damage to the environment too, with more environmentally friendly initiatives being researched and implemented, such as biofuels and hybrid models. Travel is easier for the consumer these days too. No longer do we need to carry around our pocket-sized road maps or get stressed out when we can't quite read those directions correctly. All we need nowadays is a 4G connection and a navigation app. There are plenty of other apps that help us travel too, from train apps with timetables to flight comparison sites and many more. The tourist experience. There are many ways that e-tourism has helped to enhance the tourist experience and to make the tourism industry more efficient. From having your room service brought to you by a robot, to checking a menu in a restaurant using a QR code, to downloading an app in a theme park that shows you queue times for the rides, to having an audio program that gives you information on your phone as you walk through a museum. E-tourism is everywhere we look. So is e-tourism the same thing as virtual tourism? Well, virtual tourism is an example of e-tourism in practice. It's essentially a hybrid concept. It combines both the notions of virtual reality and tourism. In essence, virtual tourism facilitates a tourism experience without actually having to travel anywhere. Virtual tourism takes lots of different forms and it comes in varying degrees of technological capability. In its simplest form, virtual tourism may comprise of a video of a tourism destination. The tourist watches the video, utilising their hearing and sight senses. But there are also more sophisticated forms of virtual tourism, including being immersed in an environment through use of a headset or a simulator. It may involve the use of various props. Users may be required to use gloves, and there may be additional sensations such as movement, like a roller coaster simulator, feeling, for example if you're sprayed with water, and smell. And I do have a detailed video all about that, so I will link to that at the end. There's also another concept that is closely aligned with e-tourism, and that is known as smart tourism. Smart tourism and e-tourism are commonly interlinked. However, smart tourism is not always an example of e-tourism. You see, smart tourism is all about tourism being designed in a smart way. The intention is to promote productivity and make the tourism industry efficient. Oftentimes, this does require the use of digitalization or technology, hence making it a form of e-tourism. But this isn't always the case 100% of the time. And I've got a video all about that too. I'll also link that one at the end. But first, let's talk a little bit about why e-tourism is so good. Ultimately, e-tourism is a good thing. The use of technology in the tourism industry has helped to make it more efficient, run more smoothly with less risk of human error, and making it more productive. This generally means that consumers or tourists are more satisfied with their tourism experience and that the organisations involved have increased profit margins and lower overheads. E-tourism has introduced us to a whole new way of thinking, and it has helped to expose us to invaluable developments in the travel and tourism industry. It's helped to make parts of the industry more environmentally friendly. It's helped us to have more effective marketing and product development. And it has helped us to embrace new forms of tourism too, like smart tourism and virtual tourism. But as with anything, e-tourism is not perfect. There are some negative impacts of e-tourism too. The use of technology sometimes takes away the human aspect. Customer service from a robot will never replace the smiles and conversations that a real person could bring to a situation. And using technology to a large extent may reduce the number of jobs in the tourism industry too, which can obviously have a negative economic impact on the host community. Furthermore, technology can go wrong. A booking system that's down for a website that doesn't work properly can cause a loss of money and business, for example. Ultimately, e-tourism is all about making the travel and tourism industry better, more efficient, more productive, using technology. And I think that it's an exciting time. I'm really excited to see how we can embrace technology more and how we can work to make our industry better, be as good as it can be. If you want to learn a bit more about that, then I have linked these articles here that I'm sure you will love to watch next.